Hey everybody, so I got this book. It's called Mobsters and Gangsters. It's written by Life. You can see there, organized crime in America from Al Capone to Tony Soprano. So here's a couple pages about Al Capone. I'm going to read this aloud to you. If you like the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and message. Al Capone. He is one of the most famous people of the 20th century, a gangster of international prominence, whose name evokes the very worst of gangland mayhem. Yet there are misconceptions about Al Capone. He was never in the mafia and dealt with it only tangentially, tangentially. Neither did Capone possess a great criminal mind. He was cunning, certainly, and not without intelligence. But in essence, he was but a sadistic savage who used brute strength to achieve his ends. It is possible that his name might simply have faded away. Not a smash hit television show, The Untouchables, undoubtedly revised his persona in 1959. Alphonse Capone was born into a large family in Brooklyn on January 17, 1899. The son of a barber and seamstress, he quit school at age 14 after he knocked down a female teacher and was in turn beaten by the principal. He was already a big kid, a veteran of countless street brawls who had joined his first gang, the Bim Booms, when he was 11. Lucky Luciano was also a member, and both boys moved on to become Five Pointers. There they met Johnny Torrio, a lieutenant who was smart as well as street smart, a leader who let his minions do the dirty work. Johnny would get Capone a lot of jobs, both in New York and elsewhere, and it was one of the earliest that provided Capone with his immortal nickname. Thanks to Johnny, Al was working at the Harvard Inn one night when he insulted a woman at the bar. Her brother happened to be there, and he slashed Capone 3 times with a knife. The press would later dub him Scarface, although his intimates called him Snorky. In 1919, Capone joined Torrio in Chicago, where Terrible Johnny had gone to oversee matters for his uncle, the crime lord Big Jim Colissimo. The city at that time was a den of bribery. Capone was ostensibly assigned to lower level chores, but what Torrio had in mind all along took place on May 11th when someone, Capone, rubbed out Colissimo. Torrio, now the top dog, named Capone as his right-hand man. Big Al would specialize in bootlegging and its attendant homicides. Torrio's operation was impressive, but on Chicago's north side was another rough outfit, an Irish and Polish mob run by Dion Obanion, who paradoxically was a flower enthusiast. Torrio liked to keep squabbling to a minimum, so he sliced the city into sectors for different gangs. Capone, however, was difficult to keep in tow, always trespassing, even though he had more money than he knew what to do with. For him, there was never enough. Finally, in November 1924, 3 of Scarface's men strolled into Obanion's florist shop and shot him dead. Revenge was inevitable, and 2 months later, Johnny Torrio stopped 5 bullets. He somehow survived, but he had enough and handed the reins to Capone. So Big Al was numero uno, but Obanion's successor, the volatile Hemi Weiss, vowed to kill Capone. Chicago, as Lucky Luciano said from the relative calm of New York, was a damned crazy place. Nobody's safe in the streets. The Tommy gun, a most effective tool, had become the weapon of choice. In September 1926, Capone was in the Hawthorne coffee shop next to his HQ in Cicero, the nearby city that was his fiefdom. Weiss sent 10 cars to the hotel. Each stopped outside, and the passengers emptied their guns. More than 5,000 bullets were fired, and Capone, though unhurt, was rattled, was anywhere safe for him. Well, at least he could get rid of one demon. Before year's end, Jaime Wise was gunned down. As Capone said, you can get a lot more done with a kind word and a gun than with a kind word alone. The world looked on Chicago as an abattoir, but the coup d'etat was yet to come. On February 14, 1929, 5 Capone goons, 3 disguised as cops, entered a garage on North Clark. They lined up 7 of Bugs, Moran's men, and machine gunned them down. Bugs himself was running late. Though Scarface was in Florida at the time, Moran opined only Capone kills like that. The St. Valentine's Day massacre spurred President Hoover to order a get tough edict on crime, specifically Capone, who killed perhaps 1,000 before he was through. That moment came as a result of his thick-headedness. Capone never paid any income tax, and the IRS nailed him. In 1931, Judge James H. Wilkerson said, 11 years. The New York Times said, the fat man's face went dark and the ugly scar went white. He served most of his time in Alcatraz before being judged insane and released in 1939. He had contracted syphilis long ago from one of his whores, and it destroyed him. Capone spent the rest of his years in Florida dying of a brain hemorrhage. On January 24, 1947, after visiting him there not long before the end, his former accountant, Jake Greasy Thumb Guzik, said to newsmen, "Ow, he's as nutty as a fruitcake." So this was about Al Capone from the book Mobsters and Gangsters, written by Life. If you like the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and message. Peace.